Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. Increasingly, marketers are looking at digital as an essential part of their marketing mix. Storyboard editor Antarangaswamy caught up with Karim Temsamani, President Google Asia Pacific, and spoke to him about the current digital landscape and how a marketer can be more relevant to his audience. He also spoke how Google is working towards creating a common matrix of measurability for digital platform that will benefit both the marketer and the media agency. Let's hear the conversation.
Karim, give me an overview of what's happening in the digital space.
Well, the digital space is a very vast space.
Correct.
And
narrow it down to your space.
To our space. Well, it's an incredibly exciting space at the moment. It's a space where essentially you're seeing more and more users moving online. The reality is that I'm sure if you look at your own consumption habits, you spend more and more time accessing, websites, apps, and certainly videos online. And it's the case at global level, but certainly is the case in Asia Pacific broadly. Right. What we're seeing in Asia Pacific is that across all of the countries that we have, not only we have half of the world's population, but those people that are already online access the devices at far greater intensity than anywhere else around the world.
Right.
If you take the core apps that we're using on our mobile devices, or the core areas that are available to us to use on our devices, Philippines is number one usage in the world per capita for photos. Malaysia is number one usage per capita for messaging. Right. India was the first country in the world to move from desktop consumption of maps to mobile consumption of maps. Korea was the first one to move from video consumptions of YouTube on desktop to mobile consumption. Right. So you're seeing tremendous changes in the space where people want to access content on the go at all times or have answers to what they need at all time. And you're seeing that obviously particularly with the youth. So for example, in India, we've seen that young people spend twice the amount of time accessing information through their smartphones than they do watching TV.
Sure.
And you're going to continue seeing these trends because more information is available to people online.
Right.
And certainly more smartphones are being sold, and more companies are not only putting up content, but more companies like ours are helping surface that content. So right. For instance, we now have the ability to surface content in Hindi languages through Google search, and you're seeing through YouTube that more and more content uploaded is in Indic languages.
Right. One of the challenges, you described the landscape. If all these people are doing all these things on the digital landscape, marketers want all of them. Well, the challenge for marketers is, one, measurement.
Yeah.
And today we've got any marketers inundated with 20-25 sources of measurement of all kinds of analytics. How do you help the marketer navigate the space better?
Well, the first step when you want to do anything is to be clear on what your objective is.
Right.
So the first advice that we would have for any marketer is, what are they trying to achieve? What are they trying to measure? And many marketers are trying to measure different things.
Absolutely.
Depending on your business. Some of them are trying to drive online sales.
Some are brand and so on.
Some are trying to drive offline sales. Some are trying to drive brand awareness. So the first step is really to try and understand what you're trying to measure. The second step is to figure out what is available for you to appropriately measure and ensure that you're comfortable with the methods of delivering that measurement to you. We at Google invest very heavily and have for years invested in providing measurement to company, either through our WFeed platform, our Google Analytics product, and we work very closely with third-party platforms as well to showcase to our clients that the data that we provide is correct and to ensure that they can measure it in the appropriate way. But first step is set your objectives, and second step is ensure that you understand what you can measure is the right measurement for your business.
Yes. Karim, I want to ask you this. We've just had WPP and Madison release their projections for 2017. Mm-hmm. And digital sees a huge growth, 30-35% growth.
Yeah.
And what do you think will happen to this Asian landscape in terms of consumption habit vis-a-vis various media vehicles, TV, print, radio, digital? What do you think will happen to them?
Well, it's very clear that the market is moving increasingly online.
Right.
It's driven by users. Most users are spending most of their time online now. So you'll continue to see a shift from the more traditional media towards an online consumption, and advertisers are following that shift because they're user-led. So I think those numbers that you're quoting are numbers that you're seeing in most countries around the Asia-Pacific region at that rate, mostly because there's still more people that do not have access online in this region than have. And when more people are getting access to information in fast ways, which has happened in India over the last year. There's been an incredible increase in the number of people that have access to online information. Now I think there's about 400 million people, close to 400 million people that have access to online, about 220 million on smartphone devices now in India. But there's 1.2 billion people in India, so there's still a lot of room for growth, and you're going to see continued growth over the next few years.
One of the challenges in India, which I keep discussing, is content available in the languages.
Yes.
Everybody talks about a boom in video, which we will see.
Yeah.
Where is that content going to come from? Because neither in the organized sector nor on the user-generated content can we see enough coming, especially if you go to all the languages.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge you've seen before in other countries that it's slow to take off and then something happens, a tipping point perhaps?
It's a challenge that we've seen to a great degree in the region in general, because a lot of people in this region don't speak English, and a lot of the content that has existed on the web has been in English language. So we've had a lot of programs to help people put more content online in local languages and help publishers also monetize that content. On top of that, on a side note, we're helping publishers create content in a way that's fast and accessible for people through our Accelerated Mobile Pages program that enables users to have a great experience when they're consuming the content. But more important, going back to your point, it's really critical for users to get content in the language that they want.
Absolutely.
YouTube has been phenomenal for that, because you can upload on YouTube in any languages that you want.
Right.
Now, we're getting better and better at surfacing that content even when you're doing searches. So, for instance, we're seeing in India that content in Hindi have seen 10x number of searches over the last year because of the investments that we've made in providing better results for people. So we really want to continue doing that and increasing the number of Indic languages that we have available through Google search.
What are the challenges for marketers now? Marketers, shall we say, needed to speak only in 1 or 2 languages earlier. And now they need to speak in multiple languages. So again, there are big challenges for the marketer. So what do you think the marketer will go through if on YouTube, for example, if the number of Indian videos gets split into 20 languages, then what happens?
Well, the most important thing for a marketer is to be relevant to his audience.
Right.
And the reality is that if that marketer needs to be relevant to that audience by speaking the right language, they should get a better return on investment than sending content broadly that is not relevant to users. So again, the basics of making sure that you have the right product to the right people still applies. Now, there's a lot of advances that are happening. Machine learning is a huge investment that we're making at Google, a very large part of our strategy, and our CEO, Sundar Pichai, has talked about it when he came to India as well earlier this year. And certainly those advances are enabling us not only to help advertisers produce better creative, and we call it data-driven creative, but also to cater that creative to the audiences in the way that's going to be relevant for them. And then machine learning is enabling us to help advertisers better target who's most relevant for those pieces of creative. So I think you're going to see tremendous advances in automation that will help advertisers make better and faster decisions around this. And not only have to create myriads of pieces of content without really knowing what's going to hit a user or not.
Right. A few days ago when Group M in India released their study for 2017, one of the things they spoke about was videos and how perhaps they want to start a new standard where advertisers will pay only if a video is served for 15 seconds with the volume fully on. So what do you think something like that will do?
Well, I've had a discussion with GroupM today about the measurability standard. And I think we've been very strong as a company with regards to measurability standard, and actually our viewability metric is top line in the industry, and we want to make sure that now we align with our partners, GroupM being one of them, and the other agencies and advertisers, to agree on a common metric that a client and an agency can verify the accuracy of the metric and the viability of the ad for the viewer. So we agree that an ad needs to be seen. We agree that an ad needs to be seen with the volume on, and we're working very closely with them to ensure that standards are commonly referred to and agreed within the industry.
So finally, I want to ask you, if you come back to India 1 year from now, what are the changes that you expect to see?
I'm always excited to come to India. I'm excited for a number of reasons. I'm excited because I think this is a country of tremendous opportunity. I'm excited because I think the quality of the work that's being done in India, by our teams, but also by our customers, is incredible. And I get a lot of learnings every time I come to India. But what I get most excited about is the work that we're doing to provide access to people. So there's two initiatives that I really love that the teams here are driving. The first one is what we're doing, providing access in railway stations. So we have now put Wi-Fi stations in 120 railway stations in India. We're going to go to 400. We already have 6 million people accessing the network every month. We have 15,000 people daily accessing the internet for the first time in their life. So you're seeing a complete change in how people access information, and I think the ecosystem itself is growing through all the work that many of the telcos are currently doing to improve their networks and provide incentives for people to have access to information. The second area is really what we do in educating people. So we have this Internet 30 initiative that enables us to start educating women in rural India about how the internet can provide them with great access to information and also help them start businesses.
Thank you so much, Karim. All the best.
No, thank you very much. Great to see you.
Exciting days ahead for Digital India. With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.